The last time, when I printed backgrounds, I discovered by accident how to create nice gel printed frames with Decalcomania effects. Today, I'll show you how I filled in the frames and one background with more prints. Hello print fans! In my last video, part 1 of this one, I'll link it here if you haven't seen it, I printed, along with some backgrounds, a few frames with Decalcomania effects that turned out so nice that I was scared to ruin them by filling in a bad portrait or so. So I went to the copy store and made a few copies, which I show you here. I had worked out the frames with colored pencils before I copied them, and thereby created some very intriguing shapes that reminded me of ice shapes and Arctic sceneries. And having copied them, I now had the possibility to both fill them in with my mom's portrait, or the other idea was an old sail ship like the Endeavour, which had tried to find the North Passage back then in the day. I mean, not the ship, the man had. Amundsen, I think, or was it Scott? Anyway, I found a nice photo in an old Spanish newspaper, made some laser copies, and now I'm trying that. I made both lighter and darker copies as I want to try to print both black and white laser transfers. I had this idea. I will put these on in my shop for a fair price, and if you want, you can buy one and fill in your own laser transfer or so. I will also put there some copies of this one from an older video, my beloved fuchsia prints. I initially wanted to fill in my mom's portrait too, but decided to leave it as it is. A question to you. This one is an older drawing of a volcano eruption in Tonga that happened a few years ago. I'll also sell copies of it in my shop, and I would like to know from you, would you be interested in a purely drawing video? I know it's hard to rehab from the gel addiction, but I would give it a try if you're interested. But now let's get started. These are the colors that I wanted to use. The Liquitex Basic Mars Black, which is great for laser transfers, an acrylic white by Lucas, and the Carbon Black, a slow-drying paint by Golden Open. I am using a glass of an empty frame to put the gel plate on. That way I am able to place the laser transferred image exactly on the frame page without the plate wobbling around on me. I'll show you. Like this. And you can see through it really good. These are the copies I made from the Spanish newspaper of the boat, also darker copies and lighter copies. But you'll be surprised why this first trial doesn't work. But I keep everything in this video today, also my fails. So I want to use the Golden Open slow drying paint first, but wait, I will just rip off the text there. Later I'll leave the text in some other prints, but I'm tearing the paper in a shape that could suggest clouds. That may look beautiful on this one. So the best is to spread out the paint very thinly and evenly. If you make it too thick, the laser transfer probably will not work. And when you put on the paper, the copy, press it on only lightly, but make sure it has contact in all places. Taking off some excess paint up there with a baby wipe. And ta-da! Nothing happened. It didn't work. I think it's that with the new machines in my copy store, I think it's a different brand and they use other ink, So if someone tells you it's always laser prints with good ink in the copy shop, that's not true. So I had to make, I was quite devastated. Luckily I have my own laser printer, so I made some more copies. Rolling out the Golden Open Mars Black again. And placing on it my laser copy that will hopefully work. And it does. It's actually quite a good print, I think. But I'll take off the paint up there because it's too dark and it would take too much attention away. So I'm letting go the idea with the clouds. And I'll show you briefly what happened here. I just wiped across the paint with a baby wipe, and it has this watery effect that I also used in another video, and I'll surely use it again because I love it, but not for this one. And dabbing off some more paint. As the contrast wasn't high enough, I still have quite a bit in the background. Note that when you're using the baby wipe, you also have to use a dry tissue afterwards, so that you don't leave the wet spots on when you're printing. So I'm trying to register, and I want to put some paper on where I have the ice shapes, but in the last minute I'll take it away because I don't want to cut off anything of that boat. And this is why I like it so much making copies, because you can just try out some variations and you can't do wrong because you have another copy. And this one turned out really, really nice, although I lost the ice shapes. But it was worth it. And I want to make a white print now. It should work because this is about the resist that the laser paint on the paper makes. So it should really also work with the white. But we'll see. And for this I'm using one of my darker backgrounds so that I can see the white better. And taping off the ice shapes so that I can leave it this time. And note that the paint of Lucas is an opaque one, not transparent and not half transparent and not half opaque. It has to be purely opaque. And the reason why I really want to try this white print is because I want to get sort of a ghost ship, you know, like all those ships lost in the Arctic. They're just ghosts now. And you see that this is a nice collage paper, but almost no impression on the gel plate. You can see a little bit of that ship down there, but it really didn't work. But I'm destined to try that again with another paint later. Now I'm going for another dog print. I didn't clean either plate or brayer because you won't see the little bit of white in the dog paint. So I'm placing that paper again. It is okay, but not, well, it's not such a good thing now, but yeah. I'll take another background and see if it's visible at all. So I'm putting down the ice shapes taped off background and placing the ship just exactly where I want it. Turn it around, that is important, and rub it again from the other side. And you can see it's not such a great print. It is okay if I work on it later. So I made some more copies. And this time I used a thicker paper that has 120 GSM, and it's supposed to be coated with some, I don't know, some, not glossy, but it's coated with something. And somebody told me that probably the resist of those prints would work better. I don't know if that's true. And now I'm trying something really new. I'm trying the gouache paint because I was disappointed with the white print. So I never printed a gouache with a Gelli plate. So I'll try that now. Putting the copy on. And I'll make this one quick. That's a lot better. But it is so light, although the gouache is supposed to be opaque, that the outcome later, which I'm picking up here with a because it dries so fast, I'm picking that up with a medium, a matte medium, and yeah, the outcome is not so great, as you'll see in a second. And I'll print it on that page where the black print wasn't so great either. So yeah, a white one over the black one, maybe that'll work. And it didn't. Haha. Yeah, well, it is okay. I'm not going to work on this one. If I worked the white and the black ship out, it would probably be very interesting. But I don't have the time before I release this video, so maybe I'll try that later. So one of my subscribers had the idea that I print musical notes on this background, and I think that's a fantastic idea. And I looked up some musical notes, but I just didn't have the time to do that also. I'm sorry, Bojo. And now I want to print my mom's portrait on this darker background, the blue background, and there's a piece of recording missing here. I'm sorry. But the print this time turned out even better than the first one. And it might have to do with a 120 GSM coated paper. I am not at all sure, but yeah, this one turned out great. Also, I like it that I left the writing up there. Looks really nice. And lost the lower ice shapes. Yeah, but it's great anyway. So I'm printing my mom now in the frame, as I did with the boat. And yeah, also 120 GSM paper. And this time it's the Liquitex Basic Moss Black. It's a very good color, but you really have to hurry up with this, or else you have to use a medium again. But I don't like the medium on the other print because that makes it very hard to work on it with colored pencil, as I usually do. So turn around the plate, place it exactly where you want it to be, make contact, turn the whole package around again, and rub it a bit. Actually longer, this is sped up, of course, again. And it's a wonderful print, and it's just what I wanted. The only problem is she doesn't really have a face. I have to add something there later. And here I'm cleaning some of the ice shapes off, because that's also something you can do like in the seconds after printing. And it's okay, I'll go over it with a white. And I still have one copy of those, masking off the ice shapes and doing the same thing and printing my mom again. And this time I used quite a lot of the golden open paint, and it's actually a little too much. It's too dark. I'm trying to clean some off here, but the print in the end is not that great. The only thing that's really great here is the ice parts. And she does have a face now, but it's too dark. And now comes the working out part. I'll speed this up quite a bit for the sake of the length of this video, and you can put it on slow if you want to see it more detailed. And yeah, I'm just using my colored pencils here, and mainly only black and white. Putting some white reflections here in the water, and just strengthening a few of the takelage sails, not the sails, the strings, the the ropes, and the sails. And while I was doing this, I was discovering that there is a flag up there. I think it's an American one. So this one's finished, and I think of this session it is my favorite one, although I lost some of the ice, but I really like the print. And I'm doing the same thing for my mother's face, for my mother's portrait, which is not a portrait because it has no nose and no mouth. But I'm filling that in just a little bit, just a hint. It's really the photo. I really try to make it more contrasty, and it's just the contrasts are too dark, so the whole thing gets too dark if I want the face. I think if you're really good at Photoshop, you can probably do this. Oder Create, wie heißt das denn nochmal? Procreate. But I'm not that good at it. Yeah, well, so this is not my favorite, but it's okay. And it's really good I made these copies, so I just could try out a lot. And see what I did down there with the eyes? I put some white in there. And this is the last one I'm working out, enhancing those letters up there, which are going out of the picture. I like that. And ooh, how you see how the waves and everything that fit with the pattern underneath. Ooh, that's chilling. And this one is going to be a little different because I use a lot of white on the sails and some other parts. And the rump of the boat goes white too. I really like the white on this one. Especially as what I'm doing now is the ice parts. And just very subtly, I'm giving some shadows to the background structure. It's also a little bit like waves, but it could be something completely different. And everything is frozen. So, how do you like this week's session? I really enjoyed it. I really had fun, and that's the most important thing. I hope it could inspire you for doing similar things, but really everything is down to have some fun. See you next week. Bye.